Welcome back to Weekend Smile, guys. So people will often say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But how feasible is that for our everyday lives? Our next guest might share a different point of view. Joining us this morning to discuss the importance of sleep to work-life balance is work-life coach Dionne West. And she's joining us all the way from the UK. Welcome to Smile, Dionne. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm well. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome, Dionne. I said this conversation should be very interesting because for many of us who struggle with even having a sleep pattern or getting enough rest or balancing between that sleep and work and rest and life, and there's just so much always going on and so many things always running through our minds. I mean, let us start with the basics. Let's start with, first of all, what is sleep?
So sleep is one of those essential functions that our body goes through every day, and it helps us to be refreshed and prepared for the challenges that we take on during the day. Yeah. It's when our bodies repair, when our bodies cleanse. It's when your brain doesn't function properly if you haven't had enough sleep. It's when it has impact on your short-term memory. There's just a lot that happens when you're asleep, and it's really, really important for our well-being. I mean, research has even shown that if you don't get consistent good sleep, you run the risk of developing things like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, mental health challenges, heart disease, the list goes on. So it's really more important than we actually realize.
So it's actually a good way, as you put it, for our bodies to just restart, to slow down, and for us to just get some rest, to recoup, and to be able to go again and to just function properly. And I think that would then tie into the importance of sleep then in just life and work and just our everyday balance.
Yes, definitely. Where the workplace is concerned in particular, if you don't have enough sleep, it means that your cognition is impaired. So you won't be able to think on your feet. You won't be able to be as resilient as you need to. You don't have the energy. Maybe you have that challenging colleague in work that you just won't have enough patience to manage on the days when
you're not tolerant at all.
Yes, you can't manage them. So, sleep is really important. You won't be able to perform at your peak in work and be as efficient as you want to be in work if you don't get enough sleep. And in your home life, it spills over into your home relationships. You might snap at your kids, you might snap at your partner. It really is important to how we function on a day-to-day basis.
And we're not even gonna talk about when you have to travel, Dionne, even driving, how risky that can be.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
In terms of a relationship with sleep now, what would you say is your relationship with sleep?
Well, my current relationship is that I love it and sometimes it doesn't love me back. I mean, I've always been a night person, but what's been happening recently is that now when I try to sleep, it's not happening. I'm tossing and turning, and I was getting to a point a few weeks ago now where I was just totally overwhelmed. And the lack of performance and challenges that I just described about happening in work were happening to me. So I'm at a place now where I'm trying to look at what I can do to make my sleep better and to try to improve my sleep habits, because it's really impacting on how I function day to day. So I love it, but we are not friends at this point.
Not friends right now, but it's okay. We're working on it.
We're working on it.
A lot of times, we always hear that it is important for us to get that 8 hours every night. Is that even possible? Because we have so many things going on, and not even to mention if you have a family, if you have a hectic lifestyle or a busy schedule, if you have a demanding job. There's so many responsibilities. So is it even possible, one? And then if it is, how many days a week would you say that you advise us to get at least 8 hours sleep, or at least 7 hours maybe, maybe even 6?
Yeah, well, it is possible, but it's very challenging in our current circumstances with the busyness of life that you've just mentioned. I think most professional people only get about 4 or 5, between 4 and 6 on an average, which is not really the best thing to have happen. It is possible, but it's largely not the case for most people these days, to be honest. I think that personally, if you can get about 3 days out of the work week of good sleep, 7 hours even if you were able to get 3 days out of the work week, I think you'd be really well on your way to winning the week.
Yeah.
That's what my circumstances are at the minute. I don't get as many hours as I need to get, and if I could get 3 hours or 7 8, it'd be great.
And then sometimes you try and play catch up on the weekends, which is not too bad.
Yes.
So Dionne, I have to ask you though, before we go, 3 tips you'd share with persons to help to improve their sleeping habits and sleeping patterns.
So one tip is to try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every night. So make a pattern of having a wake up time and a go to bed time. In order to get yourself off to sleep, you can try to ensure that your sleep area is nice and comfortable, that your bedding is nice and comfy, that your room is warm, that it's cool and it's also dark. And especially, this is a really important one, to switch off your devices. No phone, no laptop, no TV, at least 2 hours before you go to bed, because the the blue light that comes through from those devices really keeps your brain awake. And lastly, another tip, a nice easy one, have a nice warm drink before bed, something like a chamomile tea. You may recall your mommy giving you milk with nutmeg, and that should help you to slip right off to sleep.
Slip right off to sleep. Well, Dionne, thank you so very much for joining us this morning and for sharing with us all those tips. I'm going to try some chamomile tonight. That's what I'm going to try. I'm
definitely like a light.
Oh, like a light. And I'm sure persons can find you on social media. It's what? At Dionne West?
At Dionne N West on Instagram.
West. All right, Dionne, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so much
joining
for
us.
having me.
All right, so we'll be right back with a bag of things. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We can smile. We got more for you.